YouTube, what's up? This is your boy Russell, and I am back with another video. Today we are going to be talking about acceptance. So yesterday I put up a video about grief and my journey from denial to finally accepting that my sister is no longer here and she's now in heaven. And there's five stages to grief. And we're just going to deal with the final step, which is acceptance. And this is super important, man, because this is going to allow you to move on with your life. And what is acceptance, right? And we're not going to get Webster's dictionary here. We're just going to talk a little bit. So for me, acceptance is learning to accept life as it is. And in some communities they say accepting life on life's terms. And this is going to be super important because if you are not, let me say that differently. If you are not accepting life as it is, more times than not, it's going to lead you to an internal roadblock. Right. So that doesn't necessarily mean that your life will stop. Right. That doesn't necessarily mean that you won't continue to be a successful person by the world standards. But there will definitely be a war taking place. And that war will be between you and what's going on inside of you. So learning acceptance is going to be super important. No, not learning acceptance. Gaining acceptance is going to be super important for those of us who have dealt with loss and are just trying to move on with your life. And I know that my video yesterday was about grief, but acceptance doesn't necessarily have to do solely to do with grief, right? So what are the areas that we need to accept, right? You could lose your job. If you live long enough, that will probably happen to every single one of us. Um, there's going to be a breakup that you're going to go through, especially if you're a young person, unless you're one of the lucky ones like they were in the 30s and the 40s, where they got married at 19 or 20 and then lived together until they were 85 to 90 years together. Um, there's divorce, right? And if you are on the receiving end of the divorce and you are the one that really wanted to make things work, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be dealing with some grief and to finally move on with your life internally, right? Internally, this is all an inside job. I'm not talking about, let's say, a person gets divorced, and there's a saying out there that the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody, and I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. That is absolutely not the case. In order to get over someone, you need to go through the process and whatever that means to you and however you do it. But in order for you to move on with your life on the inside with peace, is to finally get to the place that you are accepting what life has brought you. Now, for me, learning acceptance has been a lifelong journey. Um, it's tough to accept life on life's terms. Honestly, life is really, really hard. And learning to accept life as it hands itself to us really allows us to be emotionally postured to move forward in life in a healthy way. Uh, if we don't deal with the things that we feel a certain level of loss about, we are going to be unable to properly move our way through life, move our way through relationships, friendships, business relationships, um, even relationships with ourselves. And the biggest one is our relationship with God. How many of us have said, "Why me, Lord? Why me?" I remember I was in seminary. This was, I think, uh, 15 or 16 or so, 16. And I had to write a paper. And this was actually the last paper that I wrote in seminary. And that paper was on the idea of theodicy. And theodicy asks the question that if God is sovereign, if God loves you, if God is everywhere at the same time, if he knows the very number of hairs upon our head, and if God can change all of this if he wanted to, then where is God in the midst of the evil in the world? That was the biggest lesson that I had to learn in order to accept things as they are and get on with the business of life. And hear me clearly. You can get on with the business of life on the external, right? You're successful at your job. You're successful in community groups. You can be a pillar of the community and you can still be stagnant on the inside. You can still be broken on the inside. And that's what I was. Always worked. Um, Always tried to be a member of the community that people could look up to. But on the inside, Russell was broken. So, how did I go about finally being able to accept life on life's terms? Unfortunately, sometimes life gets precipitously worse until we deal with the things that are going on inside of us. And as my trauma through life had compounded itself, and really, Danielle was the final straw where I had to deal with my ish. And if I didn't deal with my ish, I was not moving another step further. And so obviously I went, as I said yesterday, I went and I got some help through therapy, through grief groups. As I said, I have a group called Survivors After Suicide Loss, and just doing a lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of bouncing things off of myself and others. And I had to go through the denial of loss. I had to go through anger. I had to bargain with God. Lord, please, this cannot be real. Lord, if only you will bring her back, Lord. If only you will take this pain away, Lord. If only you will blah, 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 blah. If only you would do all of these things, God. I promise that I will be the good servant that you would have me to be. And when all that failed, I had to go through some depression. Oh, man, and that was really the hardest part because depression is real. Depression is, it will keep you from getting up out of the bed for days on end. It paralyzes you, or it can paralyze you. And hear me when I'm speaking. I'm not talking about externally, because sometimes you got to just go on and do what life requires us to do. But internally, we can become paralyzed. And after I went through the depression, I finally woke up one day and said, all right, I got to start getting back into the real world. I got to start doing things that I did before that brought me joy, that brought me happiness, that brought me fulfillment, that brought me meaning. And I had to start doing it. I had to force myself to do it. I didn't want to work out, but I was at my happiest when I was at my healthiest. I did not want to go to church, and but I was at my most fulfilled when I was an active participant in church. And I really just had to force myself to do the things that I know was good for me, though I did not feel like doing it. There's a great quote, and I don't know who said the quote, that says that our goals don't care about our feelings. I'll say that again. Our goals don't care anything about our feelings. And so I've always been a goal-minded, goal-oriented person, and I've always wanted to do great things in life. And when you are a goal-oriented person and you're still broken on the inside, sometimes the only way to achieve those goals is to power through, is to power through, is to power through. And that's what I did. I powered through, and eventually, through working out, finding community again, reading, writing, listening to my Audible, talking to others that are like me who could relate to what I'm going through or was going through, talking to people like me who can just relate to the person that I am, having loved ones that you can just lean on, right? It's those friends are invaluable, having those people to lean on. And so I had to stop being a hermit, and I had to just force myself to get back into the real world. And so that's what if you are stuck, if you are lacking acceptance, if you are not able to deal with life on life's terms, you're just going to have to get back in the saddle, man. You're just going to have to get back in the saddle. You're just going to have to do that which you know you need to do, but have no desire to do it. Again, our goals don't care about our feelings. And procrastination, those days are absolutely over. Those days are over. No more procrastination for me, and I pray no more procrastination from you. There's a great, I'm full of quotes. I love quotes. I write them down. I read them. I memorize them. I run them through my system. I marinate on them. But there's a great quote that says that procrastination is the arrogant assumption that God owes you or me another opportunity to do what he's already given us a chance to do. I'll say that again. Procrastination is the arrogant assumption that God owes us another opportunity to do what he's already given us a chance to do. And so let's learn to live with life on life's terms. Let's deal with our monsters. Let's look the enemy in the face. And sometimes the enemy is us. Sometimes I am my own worst enemy. I promise you that. Nobody could do more harm to me than I could do to myself. But let's get on with life, man. Life is short. I'm not on Facebook a lot. Rarely ever. But when I posted, I just saw a lot of my Facebook friends from 20, 30 years ago. And it's amazing to just see people that you identified with as younger people grow into the people that they are. Older persons like myself or seasoned saints like others. But life is fleeting. And The trouble is that we always think that we have time, and we don't have any more time to put off giving ourselves the attention that we deserve. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to me. Like, share, subscribe, please. It's super important for the algorithm of Facebook to send out to people who really want to hear the message. And it definitely helps me grow my channel. And again, I appreciate it. And as always, the light in me sees the light in you. Holla at your boy. Y'all have a great day.